Just a little.
That's because we party so hard, girl. But have you seen some of the people in there partying tonight? Boy, there's some hardcore partiers in our party tonight. I didn't realize some of our coworkers got so wasted.
I know,
Woo!
right? Imagine
Can
seeing
you
them
believe?
tomorrow morning when they're,
Can
they've
you
just gotten off
believe
the
that?
booze and they remember what they've done. What they've done. Imagine what they've done tonight when they're drunk, and then tomorrow how they'll feel.
Oh, they're gonna see themselves tomorrow in a whole new light. Wait till they hear stories. Wait till they hear stories about some of the things that they said tonight, like the ones that were talking about their therapy. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
For me, I think therapy is more of a personal thing. But it's good to talk about it because so many people go through therapies. You know what I mean? There's so many different types of therapies. The question is therapy really worth it? What do you think?
Definitely, depending on what you've actually gone through and
What? Can you speak up a little?
Yeah. It depends on what you've gone through and what you're going through at the time. Do you know what I mean? Therapy is great for like traumatic experiences and definitely things like that. These people that use it at work and stuff, why are they using it at work? Are they using the work's budget? You could be asking that, but of course, therapy is always worth it. Yeah, depending on the situation.
Budget. There is a price for therapy. Usually therapy is actually pretty expensive.
Definitely here in
It's
Australia,
not cheap. I hear it's pretty expensive. Unless if you don't have insurance, especially, it's a cost.
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't know what it's like in the States, but here in Australia, for sure. Yeah, it's up to $300 a session, and a 6-week wait. Yeah,
$300 a session,
and 6 weeks wait. Yep.
How much does that equal in American dollars?
Oh god, about $550.
$550 for one session. How long is a session? 1 hour?
Hour to an hour and a half. Yeah.
Really expensive. Wow. So that's definitely the industry to get into in Australia.
Yeah, definitely. And the government subsidizes sometimes, but depending on the nature of it. Yeah.
Wow.
Sure.
In America, it's like $100, $60 to $100 for sessions.
Wow. Yeah. Like so, virtually half price to what it is here.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah, I know, right? It's expensive.
But you know what? As far as is it worth it for your mental health, I'm going to say it's absolutely worth it. Now, I can't imagine if it was $550 in American money, I don't know if I can say it's worth it. I don't know if I can say that because that's a lot of money unless they're really going somewhere, because in America, the therapists don't really go somewhere quickly. They spend time getting to know you, talking to you, things like that. I hear that a lot of people don't really learn much. It's for a while. They try to build trust in a camaraderie,
Yep, they try to do it all within about 3 sessions. Do you know what I mean? So,
wow.
Try and get it out and done. But the thing is, can you build a trust and a relationship with your therapist? Do you know what I mean? You've got to trust and rely on them, don't you?
Right. Yeah, because you're going to be opening up your very personal, intimate secrets when you trust a therapist. No, dogs. I can't hold you. No. My dogs want me to hold them. I was wondering, what?
Talking in the bathroom is good therapy.
Yeah. My dogs just came into the restroom. You know why? Because I had her in the car. She must have heard me in here and came running.
I love that.
So, have you got any experience?
With therapy?
As far as therapy goes, yeah.
Personally, I've used it a couple of times. I had my brother suicided, so it was just imperative to have therapy for my working commitments and everything afterwards, and getting back into the work kind of field after losing a loved one and things like that. Yeah, losing a loved one's pretty hard.
Did you notice that it helped you?
It helped. My work was brilliant. They helped, my whole family. They offered therapy to my whole family for free, like, a few sessions with each one. Yeah. So it was great. It was really good. So it helped definitely. So going back into my work was a lot easier. Yeah.
Wow. You know what? That's actually a really beautiful thing to hear that they did that. It really is. I mean, that's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Love it.
So, whoa.
Yeah. It is.
We've opened the man cave. Hey, Barfly number 1, 2, and 3. How are you guys doing tonight?
Great. Good, Groovy.
Great. So, do you guys have any thoughts, opinions, or ideas about therapy? Is it worth it?
It has to be worth it if you're wanting to do it. You know, if you're doing it to try to like, okay, because this person said that you need to go to therapy, then you're just like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to therapy, then it's not gonna work. Like, you know.
So, in other words, if it's like court appointed, it's kind of pointless.
Yes, that too. You know, even in that situation, if you're being forced to do it, it is.
Good insight. How about you, Barfly number 1 and 3?
To an extent, I think therapy is good, but most therapists are going to tell you that you can change the behavior, but you can't change the personality. So is a person going to try to change their behavior or their personality? You know, if you're going because you just have a horrible personality, then it's not going to benefit from you.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that personalities stem from behaviors, possibly, from upbringing, from behaviors taught?
Definitely.
Definitely, they're acquired. Yeah. They're acquired.
Now, really quick, it all depends on what you go for therapy for. Now, in this sense, is it physical therapy? Is it regular therapy? So therapy, it all depends, right? Now, it could be for emotional, like, let's say if you're depressed, you can go to therapy for depression. You can go for therapy for, let's just say you have ADHD. So it all depends on what you need therapy for.
Right. I'm going to agree with
physical therapy is usually going to benefit that person anyhow, because like my mom has RSV in her hand and RSD, I can't remember what it's called. It's like nerve damage in her hand. So like that physical therapy, like that's going to in the long run anyways, you know. Now, if you go for like mental therapy, there's chances that that's not going to benefit you, you know, in the long run, unless you take either what information that is beneficial to you, or if you're serious about it, or whatever.
You got to do the exercises that the therapist gives you, and definitely got to take it seriously.
And yeah.
So,
but then, like how someone said that they saw a psychologist instead of a therapist. You know, a therapist is there to try to. There's a difference because a psychiatrist is going to try to give you pills. I feel like they're going to prescribe you stuff. You know, okay, you feel like this, boom, here's a script, right? You know, and a therapist isn't going to prescribe you anything. They're just going to.
It's a counselor.
Right, it's more like a counselor. A counselor, a psychiatrist, a psychologist is more like a counselor. A psychiatrist can do the prescriptions.
I agree with that. Like some people do.
And they can do the mental therapy, the work, you know. They can do both.
I also think that when mental health plays a part of it, that it should be required.
Exactly.
I'm not talking about somebody who's just like, you know, a little crazy now and then. I'm talking people that have actual psych issues. It should be something required. That way they have that extra support. I
can speak from experience on that, Eddie. Barfly number 3. Absolutely. I am bipolar, everyone. I take medication because I'm super hyperactive. I have a hard time with impulse control, which is why I gifted my entire inheritance on this app. My entire inheritance, my entire car accident settlement. I sold a car and a boat, and I gifted all that on the app. I've literally gifted away everything. I've had a very difficult time not giving away. As soon as I get money, I give it all away. I don't save anything for myself. I literally give it away. I have a very hard time with impulse control. I take medication. It must not be enough, but I don't want to take more. But I love to make people happy. It makes me happy to make people happy.
Right.
So because I can get off on that, not literally getting off, you know what I'm saying, but because I love to make people happy. So I love to give. And I have a hard time. But here's the thing. If something's missing, I used to have a hard time not looking for it. I would look for 24 hours, you guys. I wouldn't be able to stop looking for what I was looking for until I found it. And I would go through a very large range of emotions. Every emotion you can imagine, I would go through a roller coaster ride of every emotion. I would be determined. Then I would be angry because I couldn't find it. Then I would be confident I was going to find it. I would keep looking. Then I would be sad that I couldn't find it. I would cry and cry and cry. Then I would be determined again, and I would start looking some more. I couldn't stop. And then I would go through angry again, and I was crying because I couldn't find it. And I would literally get mad, and I would go through every emotion. This is before medication came into my life. So I'm a big believer in the medication. Now, they wanted to label me ADHD. They had to, apparently there's some rule that stipulates after age 19, federal law states you can no longer label anybody by ADHD. They have to put a new category as another bipolar category, which is a huge category. I was very unhappy with that because as far as I've ever known, everyone that I've ever known that bipolar would hear voices. They would think they were someone they weren't. It was horrible to hear what these bipolar people go through, and I don't go through any of that. So it was very,
like schizophrenia.
It was very difficult to be labeled that name when I was nothing like those people were. But, you know, I wish, like Eddie said, I wish that you were given therapy as well, because I'm sure there would be some mental way to train myself with self-control so that I would be able to say, okay, if I received something, I wouldn't turn around and give it all away. Maybe I would only give a part of it and keep some for myself. But I have not done that as far as most situations I've come into where I've been gifted something, whether on the app or winning at a poker table. Gambling is an issue, as we'll talk about addictions in a minute. I haven't been playing poker since I found the app, but isn't this app like gambling? Yes, it is.
Yes. Exactly.
So I like that you think that they should give some mental therapy along with the need for medication. I love that, Eddie. What a great insight. Thank you for that.
You know, well, working in healthcare, you know, you see a lot at the hospital, you know, with mental health and some of the stuff that, you know, where people are really, really bad off. And if there was just more support out there, you know, there would be more chance at success and helping a lot of people. But there's just not enough. There's not enough support out there for mental health awareness.
Exactly.
There needs to be more.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I think there should be definitely more government subsidies and help, you know?
Right.
All of it.
Hi, sister. If anyone's new to the stream, what is going on right now is you are in the Babe Cave. I'm your hostess, Groovy's Beach. This is Dick Tracy, my co-hostess. We are two ladies in the bathroom, and we are just having a private conversation with 3 barflies on the wall. These 3 handsome men right here are our barflies. They are on the wall in the ladies' room, eavesdropping as we have private conversation. Today we're talking about therapies. All right, so Tracy, you know, we talked about is it helpful, and we all know it really is in the long run. Some psychologists or psychiatrists, they may go overboard with medication. They may waste your time because they're in it for the money more so. But if they really gave 100% care about you, then it's beneficial because you're learning. And I think even if you talk to friends, like you and me always talk, I think if you talk to friends, even that is the same thing. You get to feed and bounce off each other, reverb, you know? Give and take. What?
I prefer that myself. I prefer a good conversation to like talk about something straight away, or as they say, rant, or you know, have a decent conversation about something that's affecting me, rather than, you know, like even just then I found that beneficial just talking to you 5, like us 5, like it was just, you know, hearing different insights on things, and you know, obviously different countries too. So
yeah. When you're talking to a friend, they can give you an outside opinion, because if they're not in your situation at the time, you're getting that outside opinion. And with a friend, they're going to come out and give you a suggestion. Now, therapists don't really give suggestions. They just try and help you figure out your own suggestions. I noticed that in my past. Because You know, there's another big therapy people need, and that's for addictions. Addictions is a really big one in the world, not just in America, but that's a big one in the world. How are addictions, are addiction therapy used? Is that pretty big in your country as well, addictions?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And drug addictions and alcohol. I think
There's drug addictions.
biggest problem I think in the world is something that is so regularly
Can you
available
speak
is
up a little,
alcohol.
Tracy?
Yeah, I don't know why my microphone isn't working as well, but I think alcohol is a real
Alcohol is
problem
another big
everywhere.
addiction.
And it's readily available to anyone and everyone. Do you know what I mean? Anyone can get it. Anyone can get alcohol. You know, and it's just so easy if it's not used correctly. It causes so many problems. You know?
You know, there's
Alcohol.
gambling addictions, as we just mentioned a few minutes ago. There's eating addictions. We've got smoking. Smoking is a terrible addiction, and that's worldwide. You know, there's shopping addictions. Amazon might be my best friend. I think I'm on Amazon more than I am on the app, or at least equal.
I think vaping is the new addiction of the world, especially for the younger one. Vaping is huge. It's got nicotine in it.
It does. You know, they now sell zero. They do sell zero vape now, you guys, just so you know. You can buy, I put zero on the back to know it's the zero, but you can buy zero vapes, you guys. So if you do vape a lot, especially if you're not really a smoker, please start buying the zero nicotines. They do sell them. These are the new in thing. These Elf bars are the new in thing. Their flavors are really sweet, so it's very easy to suck and puff constantly. If you're one of those people that suck and puff, please buy the zeros. Suck on the zero most of the day until you really need something. Then, you know, but please try and give up your nicotine. You know, there's a lot of other addictions, like the loss of loved ones. You need therapy for the loss of loved ones, as you mentioned earlier, right? Wasn't that what it was, the loss of a loved one?
My brother suicided, yeah.
And that is something huge when we lose a loved one, especially for a reason like that, like suicide. That's a huge deal. There's therapies for divorce. There's therapies for fear. What?
This whole app is about dating, isn't it? So obviously we were on here because of either we've broken up with someone or we're single. So, you know.
I've met some people that found people on here and they're very happy. So that's very positive. You know, that can happen here.
It can happen on here.
Yeah, it can. You know, there's a lot of people that are addicted with anxiety. They're actually addicted to their own fear. They're constantly afraid. And they feel the stress and the anxiety. There's a divorce, we mentioned that. Codependency. That someone needs therapy for codependency. There's sexual addictions, sex addicts. There is such thing as Sex Addicts Anonymous.
Nymphos. No, sorry.
They go to AA. What?
I said I'm not saying from experience. You Casey laugh. No, sir.
Yes, for trauma can lead to addictions. It does often. It really does. And one addiction leads to another addiction. If you're trying to quit one addiction, you got to figure out why you got into that addiction to begin with. What is it that you were lacking in life? Because whatever you were lacking, if you try to give up one addiction, like giving up alcohol and starting cigarettes, a lot of people in AA will give up alcohol and start smoking, and they'll smoke even more because they've given up alcohol. So going from one addiction to another is actually a really dangerous thing. But anyway, all this being said, Tracy, what do you think about all the different addictions and the different things that people are addicted to?
So what do I think? Sorry, what was that? That I think of.
Yeah, do you have anything you want to say about that?
Oh, look, addictions is inevitable, I think, for everyone. They're always going to have to try and, you know, like cola. You know, Dr. Pepper. Yeah, I think always you're gonna be battling an addiction if you're an addictive person, you know. And go on.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I love how you do that.
Aloha, butterflies.
Hello, Groovy.
Tracy,
alcohol, I do feel like
Tracy. Shoot. Shoot that fly away. Man, this bathroom is a lot of flies.
So my thoughts on this, Groovy, are when you look at the amount of the homeless population that we have in our country, most of that is affiliated with some sort of addiction, whether it be gambling, drugs, alcohol. But what also plays a huge part in drugs, alcohol, and these addictions is mental health. So they go kind of together, you know.
Right.
So the only way that you're going to be able to deal with your addictions is through counseling and some sort of therapy. You need that extra help
and medication. Let me tell you, when I gave away $57,000 in a matter of 3 to 4 days on this app, I was 3 weeks without medication. I missed an appointment with my therapist, and they did not renew my medication. They said, "Oh well, nothing till your next appointment, and you're 3 weeks out or 4 weeks away till the next opening." So they cold turkey shut me off on the medication that I had to take every day, without a bridge, no bridge, no nothing. They cold turkey, 100% instantly shut off after the last night I had my meds. I had gone 3 weeks with no medication whatsoever when I found the app and started gifting and couldn't stop. $57,000 in a matter of 2 to 3 days, you guys. Just a couple days. At the most, it was 4. At the very most. I went from not even knowing what a level was to level 57 the same day. I remember that. Or 54, 52. It was something crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. In one day.
Wow.
You're not the first that I've heard on that. I've heard that from on here, though. That's what I'm saying. This app is the same as gambling.
I love that you're honest about it.
It can be necessary, Gopher, because without it, I would probably not have a home anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, guys. Groovy Beach for top badge. Thank you.
Yeah.
They've done that to me before. Oh, yeah, it was hard. It's terrible, isn't it?
Well, like with addiction, I do agree that it all depends on your mental health state, right? Good thing, me myself, I don't have it. Like, but it all depends on how your mental health is. Like, for people that vape, they just want to like hold something, if that makes sense, right? Like, Groovy, how often do you hold your vape? And be honest.
A lot, and I'm a nail biter.
Right.
Yeah, see that it's the motion. It's the motion thing. Same with smoking.
The hand mouth connection.
So it all depends on the addiction. Like, look, for people with mental health, I know a lot of people, and y'all could interject as well, but for people with mental health or people that have
yes, Gopher.
what is it called?
ADHD or
no, not ADHD. Depressed.
Bipolar.
Depressed. Like me myself, I feel like a lot of people are drinking because they cannot handle things.
Life is uncomfortable. Life is uncomfortable without drinking sometimes to people.
They tell you, and like they're like, that's not, you're not coping. You know, you're just putting like a Band-Aid on it. Like you're not trying to help yourself get over this.
And really quick, I just want to say, I'm coming in here and I'm talking as a mental health advocate. So I'm not saying anything bad about people or whatever, but I'm just coming to like how I see things as a mental health advocate.
That's what we're here for.
We're all
sharing our own opinions, thoughts, ideas, and presumptions. Yeah. It's good.
But Eddie?
I just think there needs to be more resources, you know, like I said, I work at my local hospital, so working in the emergency room, you see this on a daily basis. You see the police bringing people in on 5150 holds, psych holds. You know, they end up taking up half the emergency room when we could be.
A lot of people don't know what 5150 is unless you are crazy.
Right. So there just needs to be more resources, you know. I'm surprised that
I think that counseling, as far as more resources, Eddie, I think that counseling should be something free everywhere you go in the whole world, because everyone needs a therapist. I think the government should be paying for everyone to have maybe 1 hour a week of therapy. If every human had 1 hour a week, including the therapist, they had their hour with another therapist, I think that the world could be a lot better place.
Very much so. Very much so. I mean,
I think that's the beauty of this app. We have each other to feedback. The unfortunate thing is we're very much about positivity, positivity, positivity. So if somebody's negative or wants to share something, we want to shush them. I've done it. I felt like I had to do it to protect my positive streams. But we need each other. So it's important to reach out to your friends off stream. If you have something negative, it's very important to reach your friends off stream. Message your friends on Instagram. Call your friends from this app on Instagram. They are your friends, real friends. We might be on video, but I'm a real friend. I die for people.
So really quick, I just want to bring this up without name dropping, but the other day, one of my friends literally had to go to the hospital because of depression. And so I'm over here calling her to make sure she's okay. Right? Because that's what friends do. Mm-hmm. It's like, it doesn't matter if you just met them a month on the app.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you meet them like 6 months on the app. Like, look, to be honest with you, I'm gonna be completely honest. If Groovy goes missing for one day on this app, I will be calling her, spamming her.
Yeah. He would.
That's the type of person I am.
He would.
Yeah.
Casey, do you have anything you'd like to say about this?
No, it's just
therapy is needed.
What are we still on? We're on addictions.
What?
I thought. So what are we still on? We're on addictions.
Different addictions. We're doing therapy and addictions right now. So there's so many different addictions. Have you ever known?
There's Dr. Pepper. You know, that is like a main readily available. You know, and alcohol. I feel like with addiction and withdrawal, alcohol is the worst. Because you can literally die from withdrawal on alcohol, and that one you can get. You can go up to the store and just get you a beer for $1.50 or whatever, you know. And
you guys know, alcohol
you know, and I've done different little, you know.
Eddie, just a minute, Eddie. I'll come to you in just a minute.
I've done different things, you know, drugs in general. Like, they fascinate me, you know. There's been drugs I haven't done, then there's drugs I do, like done or whatever, and it's just, and it really is a mental deal of you're trying to cope with something that either has happened or within your upbringing or going on in your life at the moment that you're just trying to get away from, and you're not necessarily fixing that problem. You're just kind of putting yourself in this alternative state of mind for the time being, you know. And then whenever you're done with it, then that's how, you know, that those emotions come back, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go get this to get out of this again. And the next thing you know, it's a rolling effect that's just gonna keep going.
Right. Now, do you notice so you're admitting to having a Dr. Pepper addiction, correct?
Yeah.
Do you notice that, can I ask you how often you drink them? How much you drink?
I probably drink 3 or 4 bottles a day. I mean, like, here's a bottle here.
So
yeah, here's one here.
Have you noticed since you got hooked on the Dr. Pepper that you've added weight to your body?
2 there. No, I'm the fattest, skinniest kid you'll ever meet.
Okay, well, most people with drinking, most people that have soda and food addictions will put on a lot of weight, which is not healthy. That is an issue. It really is. People think that they can just eat instead of drinking, and they switch one habit to the next, and that is a big one that happens, is the overeating. Eddie, go ahead. What were you going to say a minute ago, Eddie?
Has it got, can I ask you, not naiveness, but remember in Australia,
let Eddie say what he was going to say real quick, and then we'll,
caffeine in it. Is it caffeine in Dr. Pepper?
Yes.
Yep.
I was just going to say, you know, because you guys were talking about alcohol addiction, I was going to say that alcohol addiction is probably one of the worst, because that's the only addiction that you could actually die from, going through withdrawals.
Right.
Everything else, they don't really treat it. They just let you go through your detox. But with alcohol withdrawal, they actually have to treat that, because you could
that's scary, isn't it?
Die very quickly. Yeah.
Do you know, with most drugs and alcohol, see, for me, I drink every day. I do. I drink all day, every day. and I do not ever get drunk. It's like I'm immune to it because I've drank probably for so long now. But I drink very, very little. I never get tipsy. I never get buzzed. I never get drunk. And I did go without alcohol once for 30 days. I had no issues at all. There was no detox needed. I didn't get sick. I drink very, very little. And a cup of this size, which is a big cup, I put very little in, and the rest is all tea. And I drink slow. I drink maybe one of these every 3-4 hours, and every hour alcohol can leave the system. So really, for me, I don't consider myself an alcoholic, even though I like the flavor of the spiced rum and the Malibu in my tea. So, but why can I not drink tea without it? Interesting thought, isn't it? Because alcohol tastes horrible. It is the addiction of doing it. It's the addiction of it. But the good news is, like I said, I've stopped a couple times, and I never had any withdrawals at all. But alcohol is a killer when it comes to withdrawals. I know people that were gonna die. I know people that have died. I know people that almost died. So alcohol is a killer. Is a killer. Yeah, you're right. Hold Up says 90% of store-bought food is poison. And Casey, we were talking about just now. Tracy wants to hit on something about caffeine. Go ahead, Tracy.
That's what I was trying to read on here. How much was in here? You know, and added sugars is 110%. It don't say exactly how much. Added sugars is 110%.
So, excuse me, Casey. So you drink
cigarettes are a killer too, Alex.
Cola. So I'm assuming it's the same as the Dr. Pepper type thing. Caffeine, heaps of sugar, and it's a dark color.
Yeah, but Dr. Pepper was invented as like a medicine, though. It really was.
I never heard that before, Casey. Where'd you hear that? I know it tastes like medicine, but I never heard that before.
No, it's so they used to, you could only, at the old Dr. Pepper signs, how it had 12, 4, or whatever times it was, 10, 12, and 3 was the only times that they sold Dr. Pepper. So you could not get Dr. Pepper unless it was at those times, because they said that was when you felt fatigue, and that was about the times of your work day that you felt fatigue. That
might have been because it had so much caffeine in it. It was so strong, and it's a killer too. Caffeine is dangerous. It's a drug.
Oh yeah.
Cola had cocaine in it.
But yeah, so it does, and it was made to be warm. It was made to be drank at 118 degrees or something. Like, I just learned this about like a few weeks ago, and me and Gopher, like, she was talking about it, and I looked it up, and it literally does, like, it was made to be served at a certain temperature.
It's not popular in Australia at all.
No, it's not even popular here in the States. Like, it's you got Coke, Pepsi, and then you have Dr. Pepper's like under another independently owned. That could be a whole different discussion. You muted me and unmuted me.
Thank you, Barfly number 2. All right, sister. You know, we've been talking about therapy. Everyone, if you're new to the stream, my name is Groovy's Beach. This is my co-hostess, Dick Tracy, and my 3 wonderful, handsome barflies. We have Moody, Andrew, Casey, and Eddie. Please favorite everyone in the boxes. We sure would appreciate that, as well as myself. We are doing the Babe Cave, everybody. It's about being a fly on the wall in the ladies' room. These barflies are eavesdropping on the women's private conversation in the bathroom. So if you guys would please hit us with a favor, we would sure appreciate you. You know, Tracy, we all need therapy one way or another. I really feel like we all need therapy. You know, a lot of us on this app are addicted to the app. I am. Definitely. I love this app. Yeah. I'm very addicted to it. A lot of us are addicted to interaction with humans. Social media is a huge fix for many of us addicted to socialization. Yeah. Some people are addicted to the desire for attention. Some people are addicted to the dream of being famous. There's so many people out there on the social media platforms that are addicted to their platforms for one reason or another. I think after all the stuff we've covered, there's actually absolutely a huge need for therapy. We all have addictions. I knew a neighbor, when I lived in Hawaii, I had a neighbor He was addicted to washing his car.
Oh, yeah.
His car was his god with a little G. He washed his car every day. And he would wash it for about 2 hours in the wheels, everything, daily. 2 hours. He'd run his hose and wash his car every day. Never failed. Yeah. That was an addiction. That was, he has his car on some high level, some very important platform. You know, we put a lot of things above our God with a capital G, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. I do believe in God. I think we all put a lot before our capital G. You know, we have that empty space deep inside of us that we try to fill with where we're lacking with our spiritual relationship with God. Now, I'm not going to get into that any more than what I just had to say. But I did want to ask you, have you ever heard of anyone that had childhood issues and needed therapy for their childhood issues?
Oh, that we put out later.
I'm sorry, can you speak up? I can't hear you too. I'm sorry.
They try to either blame their childhood issues, or they have come up with their childhood issues that is actually, you know, a definite thing that's happened to them that's, you know, been quite severe and stuff. There's so many things with the childhood issues. Oh God, that's my lack of not having a father around, or, you know, lack of, like, you know, my mommy and stuff. But I think it's definitely an issue from when you're a kid. I think your whole life develops from being a child, you know, your morals, your values, and anything that's, you know, come from there. If you've had a bad childhood, then, you know, or you know, a very religious background, or a very non-religious background, or, you know, very violent, like, it all is a contributor. You know,
and I think violence is very addicting. I think it is a taught behavior. I really, truly do. Most people that have abusive parents become abusers themselves. Most
not
people do.
Everyone, but some. Yeah, most,
there are people that can break that family curse, you know what I mean? But the majority of people that were abused are and become abusers. If someone is an abuser, you can bet your bottom dollar that their parents abused them.
Yeah.
Ask them, was your father and your mother abusive to you? And always the answer is yes. I've never met one abuser that was never not abused by a parent or a grandparent.
Or someone.
I haven't met anybody. I've never met an abuser that was not previously abused regularly.
Yeah, by someone that they trusted. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, as far as childhood issues go, Tracy, I'm going to disclose something private about my childhood. When I was young, you know, well, first of all, I think jaundice, there's people that have had childhood, like when you said really young, like health issues, I had jaundice when I was a child. That may have had something to do with being bipolar, or it might, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there, you know, but I know as a fact that I suffer from low self-esteem. I may not come across as I do, but I do. That might be the desire for attention nowadays, or to interact with the desire for a social fix that I have. I have a huge desire to interact with people. I love everybody. It bothers me if somebody doesn't like me. It bothers me. I want to make them like me. I want to be loved and liked by everybody. What?
Well, why don't they like me? You know, you got that whole thing is like,
yes,
why?
As an adult, exactly. As an adult, when I find out someone doesn't like me, I'm like, well, what's wrong with me? What can I change to make you like me? Instead of just realizing, you know what, that's her loss. And I'm going to say that right now. There's one person, I'm not giving any names, but there's a streamer on here who told me, I don't like your stream. There's nothing that attracts me about your stream at all, or you. I was shocked she had the audacity to say that. The audacity. But at the same time, I was like, really, why? She didn't give me an answer. I was like, I wanted to know. Now I think, you know what? That's her loss. That's absolutely her loss, because I'm a wonderful person. I love everybody. But
it took you time, though, to learn that, didn't it?
Yes.
It took time to learn.
Absolutely. And I still, my first instinct is to get defensive. Like, what's wrong with me? What can I change? How can I make you like me? That's the first instinct. And then I'm like, wait a second. No. I'm not going to be able to make you happy no matter what I do. You just made that choice not to accept me. You prejudged me. You didn't give me the time of day. You obviously did not get to know me whatsoever. Because if you did, you'd love me. Hey, Groovy for Top Bag. Groovy for Top Bag.
Can I just say here? You are the bomb. Can I say, though, you never know what's going on behind someone else's eyes. Do you know what I mean? Everyone has a story. And everyone's got something that's, like that they need therapy for, you could say, but
absolutely, I believe
so quick to judge.
we all need therapy. I wrote it down. We all need therapy. Now,
Definitely.
the childhood issues. I want to get back to the childhood issues. I stem as an adult with rejection issues, which is obviously why I was like, why don't you like me? What can I change? You know, that from rejection, I felt rejected by her. I have rejection issues. I have abandonment issues. When I have somebody come to my home, I don't want them to leave.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna go? You haven't been there very long. Are you sure? Are you hungry? Are you leaving because you're hungry? Are you leaving because you're thirsty? Why? What have I done wrong? You don't want to stay. These are issues. I don't say that, but these are issues that I struggle with. As an adult, I see them now. Like, why am I trying to make them stay? They want to go. Let them go. They probably have their own reason, right? I shouldn't care why. I don't care why.
Their own life.
But I do care. Yeah. So I realize that I'm struggling as an adult with childhood issues, the rejection and abandonment issues. And let me tell you why, Tracy. I don't know if you know this or not, but when I was young, very, very young, I remember I was probably the size of 5, 6, and it went on until I was like 11, 12, older, and until I really, anyway, my mother would flip out for some reason or another, and I would always go and console her. She would leave the dinner table and go sit in her room and cry. So as a child, I would condole her. I'd put my arm around her, I'd tell her it's going to be okay, and I wouldn't know why she was crying. But she would get really upset and she'd cry. Then I would console her. And then all of a sudden, she would get in her van or in her car and she would drive away, just take off. So I would run after her vehicle until it was completely out of sight. And whoever's yard I was in, I would stop in that yard. I would sit against that tree and I would cry until dark. And she wouldn't come home for days. Days. Look, it still bothers me. But this is why that one situation that happened is why I struggle with rejection and abandonment issues as an adult. Because it was completely out of my control. It wasn't my fault. I had nothing to do with it as a child. But as an adult, as a child, I didn't know that. I thought it was me. She's leaving away from me. I'm not worth staying for. I'm not loved enough. So as an adult, I wanted to be loved more. I wanted to be accepted by all. And that is why I think as an adult, we bring some of our childhood issues into our adulthood, because it was a lack of one thing or another in our childhood that caused us to be inadequate or feel we were never inadequate. Nobody is ever inadequate. Ever. God made everybody perfectly. But we would feel inadequate.
Yeah. Like a virtual hug, hey? Yeah.
So that caused me to go out of my way to love people and to accept everybody and to love unconditionally because of me wanting that. So it's a good thing. And the bad thing became a good thing because I would go up to somebody in church that was standing by themselves or coming into the church by themselves, and I would accept them and love them and welcome them and shake their hand and give them a hug and sit by them in church, welcome, we're so glad to have you. And I was on the greeting committee and stuff. So I went out of my way to accept and love everybody because I didn't feel I was accepted and loved by everybody, even in school. So do you have any situations that you went through as a childhood where you've realized that it can actually connect you to your now?
Oh, definitely. I found that bullying at school was a huge issue.
Bullying?
In every school. Yeah, I think all kids have been subjected to bullying at some stage. It's called the pecking order. You know what I mean? Like where, you've got. Oh, you guys on timeout. Sorry, I just read that. No, they're not. I found bullying.
Yeah, welcome to the Babe Cave, where we are. It's like being a fly on the wall in the ladies' room. We have 3 handsome barflies that are just eavesdropping on a woman's conversation in the bathroom, and shortly they'll be freed up to discuss their thoughts, opinions, ideas, stories, and presumptions. Go ahead, Tracy. Sorry about that.
No, so yeah, look, I think issues with myself personally, I was bullied a bit at school and stuff, the whole glasses wearing and everything else, where now it's kind of funny that, the guys like the whole secretary library look, don't they? So,
Yeah. I love it.
yeah, it's kind of funny. What do you look at, Casey?
I love
So
it.
it's,
I love it.
yeah, so there's definitely things that go hand in hand with all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, let's go, let's boys in. Okay. That fly sound is definitely up.
Aloha, Mel Barflies. How are we doing? 1, 2, and 3.
Good.
Do you guys have anything you'd like to talk about or overheard or know of anybody that suffered from childhood issues that you would be willing to disclose anything or share anything about? Don't feel required if you choose to. Even if you want to make up a story, yeah, you're welcome to do so as well. Mine was real. I didn't make that up.
So really quick, so I want to bring this up. I do agree that people bring their childhood into their child's life. Now, I cannot speak from experience because I'm only 22, so I don't got kids. But like I've been seeing a lot of people, like the discipline that people that their parents are giving them, and they're giving it to us as children. So it all depends with that. But I've been seeing it in a lot of people lately. Like the thing is, I'm gonna give an example. My dad, he shows me how he was treated when he was a kid. Like he doesn't hit me, but he like brings up to me, hey, this is how I did it back then, and blah blah blah. So it all depends.
That's good. How about you, Eddie? You were going to say something?
I'm going to listen for a second, Groovy.
You're going to what?
I'm going to think here first.
Yeah, Casey, is there anything you'd like to share with us? Barfly number 2.
So me personally, I did never have childhood trauma or nothing, but like my dad was a dick, but he wasn't like
What are you saying?
No, but he was very stern, and so I had like two different spectrums. Like my mom, say if I was going somewhere and I wasn't supposed to be over there, I'll tell my mom like, hey, I'm going to be over here, but I'm telling dad I'm going over here, because so that way at least something happened, one of my parents would know, like she would know but anyhow, because my dad, if I was telling him I'm going over here, he'd be like, no, you're not going, so. But
he was very strict then.
Yes, and that's a good and bad thing, like, I mean, I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't, but he, but like how Moody was saying with his dad, like bringing, taking his way of being raised and turning it around and doing the same thing to him. But, like with mine, I feel like some people, they try to do it differently, like I want my kid to have a better life than I had, like that's just
absolutely. Eddie, is there anything you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, because we were talking about bullying, and I think that bullies were bullied, but I think that the big thing that plays into factor with that is with fear. People fear controls the world. Fear plays so many factors and so many different things, and when people make you scared and make you fear something, the bullying is a little bit worse. As a kid, it was quite obvious I was gay growing up, and I was bullied, quite hard growing up. I mean, the world has changed now to where it's not like it was 30 years ago.
Exactly.
But 30 years ago, this world was a really messed up place.
Yeah, people get jumped and beat up. You guys, when younger people, Moody, gays were not accepted. Years ago, they were beaten up and jumped by packs of people. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Those are the 80s.
So that fear alone, like I kind of relate to this because when I was younger in my teenage years, I knew that I was gay, but I tried to hide that from the world. And that fear alone, you know, the only way I was able to really cope with that was drugs and alcohol. And I got myself into a lot of trouble with addiction, drugs and alcohol, because I was trying to hide who I was, because I had that fear that people weren't going to accept me for who I was and that I wasn't good enough.
Right.
You know, when I did come out, everybody was like, and, you know, but I had this fear deep down inside that, you know, I wasn't good enough.
Right.
So
yeah, I think as far as being bullied, go ahead, please.
I allowed people to walk all over me because of that fear. You know, I was afraid people were going to find out.
Right. Thank you for sharing. Everyone, thank you so much for sharing. Real quick, I just want to add one more thing before we end the Babe Cave show. We will continue to discuss if you need to, but if you need to go, you'll be free to go in just a moment. Real quick, I wanted to add, as far as bullies go, I wanted to say something about bullies. You know, that is also probably why when I was in school, I remember running from click to click, not running, but moving from click to click to click to click. My school had a lot of clicks. Group of friends here, group of friends there, group of friends here, group of friends there. I never felt like I fit into any one of the groups. I would hang out with them for a minute, and then maybe one of the people in the group would look up at the bird in the tree, and I would think they were rolling their eyes at me. So I would be like, okay, bye, and I would walk away. I would run. I was started to learn how to run before rejection would hit me. I wanted to leave before someone left me. I would leave before I was left or asked to leave. You know, children were to be seen and not heard in my home. And at least at the dinner table, we weren't allowed to discuss our days. You know, it was always about them, not us. And I think that that's probably why the bullies would pick on us too, because they were bullied. They had mean parents, so they became mean to let their energy out. And then we would be abused by them, and we would feel insecure and low self-esteem. And then our issues from our parents would come out, and we would be a victim of a bully because of our low self-esteem or our insecurities or whatever it might have been. Eddie, that's probably what you had, an insecurity, because you knew that a lot of people would look down, because back then people did look down on gay people, which is horrible, because we're all equal in God's eyes. He loves every single freaking one of us evenly.
Exactly.
We're all equal. It doesn't matter what it is. We're all equal. So anyway, if anyone else wants to share anything, I know that one of you needs to get going. So I just want to thank everyone for pulling up to the Babe Cave tonight. We are going to continue discussing further. We'd love for, we're going to open the box up for anyone that wants to come in that hasn't come in, because I know that Moody needs to get going. Moody, before you go, would you like to share? Oh, well, you guys were a part of the Babe Cave show. Sorry, I forgot to change my description of the show. I appreciate all of you for stepping up last minute to be in the show. Seriously, you guys, please favorite everyone in the boxes. They stepped up at the last minute to do the show tonight. I'm very grateful for each and every one of them. Moody, go ahead and share what you might have going on anytime soon, or about your stream before you get going.
Yes, really quick. I just want to promote this. Groovy's going to promote it as well, but she's going to promote hers later on, whatever. Tomorrow, I'm in round 3 of a battle royale with Top Edge Window. I go against DJ Bossy. My time is at 8 o'clock. Groovy, I don't know if you know your time yet.
8:30.
Okay. I'm just making sure because I made the flyer, so I just want to make sure that you got your time right. And then, guys, I do have a upcoming featured show. I did just get my first feedback the other day from my first show, so this time will be the second show. It's called Guess the Gibberish from Moody Andrew. It's Mondays at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or as Groovy likes to say, 12:01. Yeah,
12:01 a.m.
Groovy, I actually been telling people 12:01, just like you have.
I would. It helps people not get confused.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, that's called Guess the Gibberish. Groovy was one of the look, Groovy, how hard was it? How hard was my cards?
They're hard.
For my show.
They're very difficult. You got to really have a good mind, and you got to be good at puzzles and words. Because what it is, you take the word, he jumbles all the letters, and you have to try and guess what the word is. Very difficult.
So guys, if
gives you a category, he does help you with giving you a category like colors or candy, but it's still very difficult.
So guys, if you want to see a video of that, go into Emoji J's YouTube channel. My very first episode is on there.
Thank you, Gopher. You were awesome too.
And to be honest with you, that's basically it. I'm an admin for a few people. Y'all can go check that out on Instagram.
Thank you, Moody. We appreciate you. What are you doing right now? You got to get going, I know, but what are you going to do right now?
Hop on a phone call with my best friend.
Awesome. We appreciate you for being here, Moody. Thank you so much for stepping up tonight, Moody Andrew. We love you. Y'all.
By the way, guys, I forced. It was between Eddie and I that forced Groovy to do her show today, because she was gonna cancel it.
Yeah.
So you're welcome, y'all. Bye.
Gotta step up.
Bye.
No, you do.
What's that?
I said this earlier when you were away, but you can control a room. You have a way of entertaining that a lot of people, like with me in general, I guess, like coming in and then I'll watch someone's show for a little bit, then I'm gone. Like if there's nothing there to keep me, like you have the entertainment, you have the voice, the enthusiasm of holding a crowd. You really do. And then, like you were saying, one thing is, why don't they like me? Because me personally, someone doesn't like me, F them. But like,
I need to be more like that.
And I mean, I guess it depends on the person. If it's a certain person that I'm like either attracted to or I have this bond, and then
if they don't like
then
you,
I will wonder like why don't they like me? But if it's just some random person, like them, but
hey, Groovy, it's been quite a while since I've seen a comment.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I see Gopher's last one I've seen.
Yeah, it's been quite a while, and I think that you still have people in the stream.
All right, is there anyone in the stream still? Can somebody write a 1 in the comments, please? Would you guys please write a 1 in the comments?
But I just want to let you know that.
The last thing I see is Gopher wrote, they are difficult.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
I think nobody's seen a 1 now. There's a 2. I can see 2.
Okay.
Sorry. I couldn't rattle.
Thank you, Jason.
I pressed the wrong button. My bad.
Thank you, Casey, very, very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, so Casey, since we have you already, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your stream or what you like to do on the app?
Well, it's either here lately. I've just kind of been just bouncing. I streamed the other day for a little bit, and but like I say, it's just right now I have so much going on that for me to either stay on and constantly stay on for at least 2 hours, it is kind of difficult, So if I get on, I'm on for maybe 30, 45 minutes, then I'm off. But mine is just kind of just whatever goes, and a lot of things like with no one really commenting, like that's how I feel. My show, like, it's about the people that are in there. I'm not going to sit and talk to myself. Like, give us a topic to talk about. I'm open to, I can talk about anything, but like, it's just, I'm not going to sit here and talk to myself about anything. So most of the time I just sit and I play music or listening to music,